And here is a really small how-to that doesn't even have to be a how-to. Here's something that happens to every single BMW with, I guess, N52, N51 engines that I've met in my life. This small vent hose that goes from the top of the radiator, the upper radiator hose, to the expansion tank. These things just go bad, like all the time, with age naturally. So this hose just broke. BMW had like two different designs for this, like an early style that had a rubber hose from the expansion tank to a small section of a plastic tube, and then there was a small piece of rubber hose that attached that tube to the upper radiator hose. Then later on they changed it to a plastic tube all the way from this connector on the expansion tank to, like, that plastic tube spans all the way to pretty much the upper radiator hose with a really small section of rubber type of a hose at the end of it. Here's another example, I guess. It just this vent hose just snapped here at the connector. So it appears that the hose itself is still good, but I can remove this. But this connector, the plastic part, it just snapped here. So this needs to be replaced. Otherwise, once you start the engine up, this will vent all of most of your coolant out, and you're going to be looking at an overheated N52 or N51 engine. Long story short, here's the new replacement part. So first you have to replace this air intake plastic snorkel, not a snorkel, but whatever that is. You have to remove two of these screws. That way this thing can just come out like this. So as far as I remember, this is not a factory installation, so this clamp, hose clamp, is just a worm drive with a like a hex head with a slot that you can remove using a screwdriver or a like 6mm or 5mm, I forgot what it is, hex socket. So remove this clamp and pop this hose or a tube in the radiator shroud. And then just probably is a bit of a coolant, I guess. So don't want to spill that. Really just pull this off. There's a bit of a coolant naturally. So there is coolant in the upper radiator hose naturally, so be prepared to really deal with that. So you have two options to use this worm drive hose clamp, or just use a factory style crimp type of a hose clamp that you just slide over the hose and then squeeze it, and that creates a good seal that way. So I'm going to, I guess, slide this hose, the new hose, through like so, and then under this electric wire cable, and then I'm going to pull quickly the old hose so I don't lose much of a coolant, and slide the new hose over like so. Get rid of the old hose. I think I installed this clamp myself. So once that hose is in place and the hose clamp is positioned properly, so I don't have a correct tool to crimp that type of a hose clamp, and I've been always using this type of whatever that is, and that works for me. So just do that, crimp it, crimp the clamp, clean all the coolant that ran away. So, well, that's pretty much it for this job. All that is left is to click this tube in place here, and here kind of goes under this electric cable, and the last place to take care of is this connector at the expansion tank. This just goes in place like so, and that is all that's needed to replace this hose. And the last thing to do is just reinstall this air intake like so. Put these two screws back in place, here and here. And that is it. The job is done. Such a small hose, but if it breaks, you're looking at a really big problem. So just be mindful, watch out for this thing and replace it preventively, I guess. You don't want to start losing your coolant somewhere in the middle of a road, considering that you don't have the temperature gauge on your cluster. You actually may not notice the overheating in time, and that will be the kaput situation to your engine.